Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about how to get a real job. Doordash driver says he pays less in taxes than the average person. So as a lot of gig workers know, but not as a lot of employees know, if you're a W-2 employee, you are taxed right away the moment you get your paycheck. And they think that's a benefit. But for 1099 gig workers, you have to be financially responsible, take your business expenses that you would normally incur as a gig worker or as a normal person anyway, write them off, then you pay your taxes. Of course, it's a lot more complicated than the way I just described it, but the facts are the facts. And a lot of people are shocked that this guy is saying that he pays less in taxes than the average person because this isn't as common knowledge as it should be. So with that said, I want to go over everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is for DoorDash drivers as well as every other gig worker, the difference between W-2 employees and 1099 gig workers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. A DoorDash driver is claiming that he pays less taxes than people who have a W-2 job, eliciting questions from viewers about the tax write-offs the driver uses to keep their taxes down. I feel like this is something that is public knowledge, but not a lot of people really know. That's exactly why I'm developing a playlist of all of the nuances in the tax code that gig workers should know about, and I am running every ounce of information through a tax professional, which would be Joseph Mayo, the founder of GigTax, to make sure that information is verified and accurate. And of course, there are nuances and boundaries you could push, but I wanted to make sure that everything is spot on, and I wanted to make sure that if I was going to do that, people can get a discount on their taxes. But we'll go over that a little later in the video. TikTok creator EV- at EV- shared his grievances in a recent video after a viewer told him to get a real job if they wanted more tips. The Dasher was clearly not having it and explained why doing DoorDash works well for them. As of Wednesday, his video has received more than 8,000 views. The things you do for content, huh? I'm going to leave his TikTok as well as his profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions. I feel like that's triggering for a lot of people who work not even just as a gig worker, but somebody who's working in a business for themselves capacity. Whether you own a brick and mortar business, have something online, maybe you're an independent contractor, a gig worker of some sort, maybe you're a content creator. Either way, there's this phrase that keeps going around. From nameless, nobody, nothing people with no life value whatsoever, who hate their lives, who don't tip their drivers, who want to drag you down because they're like crabs in a bucket. The moment you try to leave the bucket, they bring you down and tear you apart. Meanwhile, most people who have real jobs don't even have real lives, so their opinion means less than they do as people. Either way, no tip, no trip, and don't work with people like that. They're trash. They always have been trash, and they always will be trash. When we get an order, it shows the base pay and the tip on there. We can choose to accept it or decline it, EV- said in the video. Technically, we're working for tips still, but at the end of the day, we only accept the orders actually worth our time. Ain't that the truth, man? Gotta love it when a no tip, no trip advocate ends up going viral. It's spectacular. And it's the truth at the end of the day. If the DoorDash base pay and the tips that we would receive don't equate to more than $2 a mile, it doesn't make sense to accept it. And some people have higher standards in different apps. Either way, if you don't tip your driver, we shouldn't be working with you. You shouldn't even be ordering on the platform. In fact, why are you even there? According to DoorDash's website, Dashers receive 100% of their tips on top of base pay and promotions. EV- argued that they don't see a point in getting a full-time job with a W-2. A W-2 is a tax form that is used for employees whose employers withhold payroll taxes from their earnings, according to financial services company Square. This means W-2 employees usually don't have to pay back to the government after they submit their tax information to the federal government. Independent contractors fill out 1099 forms and cover their own employment taxes. Usually, small businesses have contractors because they can often cost less than full-time employees. Also, independent contractors have the privilege to write off a lot of the expenses that they incur when doing this type of work. The miles on your car is probably one of the biggest ones, your phone bill, etc. All the things you would normally pay working at a W-2 job, but instead of you paying for them after you've already paid your taxes, it's almost like you get a discount on your taxes. But get a real job, right? EV claimed he pays less in taxes than some people with a W-2 despite working as an independent contractor for DoorDash. The Daily Dot reached out to DoorDash via email for further comment. Why would I get a real job when I make more money than your boss? You see, W-2ers like this are brainwashed into thinking, oh, just because he does DoorDash, he probably doesn't make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, not only do I make more than your boss, I pay less taxes than you. It's so funny to hear people say it like that because it's true. We may end up working a little bit more than your boss because we care about the work that we do, but we still make more money than him at his W-2 job. We pay less taxes than you because you've already paid us a butt ton of taxes, and we got to write off our expenses as part of the business that we're working on. And I love how people who were in the comments section like,
you guys are so brainwashed into thinking that you're making more money. Wake up already, you 1099 slaves.
Meanwhile, we make more money than you. You are worth less than anything. And quite frankly, the only person brainwashed is you for all of the crap that normal media would shove in your stupid face because you're a stupid person. Viewers inferred EV- likely benefits from write-offs or tax deductions. Workers can submit like money spent on vehicle mileage as well as parking fees, auto loan interest, and personal property taxes according to H&R Block. Wow, it's like we're in business for ourselves and we can write off things on our taxes. What a freaking concept. Now, of course, there are nuances and boundaries that we can't push on just being a gig worker alone, at least on DoorDash. But that also said, that's why I keep saying, diversify your gig portfolio, develop an exit strategy. The gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal, not the goal. And the more diversified your gig portfolio, there is a better chance of you being able to write off more on your taxes. But that also said, you shouldn't be looking for more ways to write off things if it's going to cost you more money at the end of the day. You don't want to raise your expenses higher just for the concept of being able to write it off, which is why we don't take orders that are like $2 to go 9 miles. We're not adding the extra mileage onto our cars. EV- also shared in other videos that he's able to make a living as a contractor because he also does other contract work via apps like Uber and Rover, leading him to make about 30 to 40 an hour, he said. The Daily Dot reached out to EV- via Instagram direct message for more information. And the more gigs you have available to you, the more opportunity you're going to have. That's just a fact. Viewers largely seemed critical of EV-'s viewpoint. Oh, this should be good. Take it down like 20 notches. User Roachmaster commented, I don't think you have a clue on how much people actually make. EV- replied, I don't think you have a clue how much we make. I love how some of these comments that people swing at us is literally the same argument you could just swing back. Be honest, do you know how much we make? Probably not. Not to mention, if 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and we are not living paycheck to paycheck, what does that say about you? Who's actually in the right here? Seriously. You don't make more than my boss. User Fiona at Fiona PDX claimed, I promise if DoorDash paid $200K a year, we would all do it. Okay, first off, if DoorDash was paying $200K a year, you'd right. A lot of more people would be doing it. Here's the other point to that, though. If your boss is making $200K a year, they also have a lot more responsibility and worked much harder to get into that position than probably most people. And not to mention, $200K a year, they're like in the top 15% of earners, period. Is DoorDash in the top 15% of earners? No. Is it still better than most of the jobs that you people keep claiming we should get? Yeah. So congratulations, Fiona. Your boss is making $200K a year and you're probably making a fraction of that. Good for you. Meanwhile, some people were on EV-Dash's side and agreed that their line of work is very much considered a worthy job. I never understand when someone says get a real job. Anything you get paid to do is a job. User Misty Lulin said. Amen to that. I am so sick of hearing that argument, to be honest. It is such a nonsense argument in my opinion. Not to mention the people that make that point have literally less than no lives. Heck, to be honest with you, Fiona, the person who claimed that their boss makes $200K a year, I'm really questioning if that's actually the truth. Let's be honest, people that are in the high income earning bracket, assuming that you're even close to their income earning bracket as their little bottom bitch, they're not on TikTok, they're not on YouTube, they're not on social media, they're getting work done. So how about instead of telling us to get a real job, you just get yourself a real life. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Look, there are a lot of income earning opportunities with 1099 gig work and a lot of tax write-offs that a lot of people don't take into account. Mass media wants to victimize gig workers, and quite honestly, there are a lot of things in the gig economy that need to be fixed as a whole. But a lot of things that need to be fixed are universal, not specifically to gig work at all, on a grand scale. Yes, there are changes that need to be made in gig work. Yes, we all wish we could be earning more money. And yes, DoorDash is not the greatest income opportunity in the gig economy. I know that a lot of people are transitioning out of DoorDash and into other gigs, specifically in the catering industry and Uber, and they're very well diversified as a whole. EV-Dash is on Uber and is on Rover, which I haven't even touched things like Rover because, quite frankly, I just haven't. I live in a condo. I don't want to bust up my HOA, you know what I mean? But that's the point. You're supposed to have as many income opportunities as possible. That's why you have an exit strategy. The gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal, not just the goal. I'm pretty sure EV-Dash is on YouTube, and he's probably monetized. Here, let me double check that. Yeah, EV-Dash has more subscribers than I do. He's probably monetized. He's probably getting a bag from YouTube that is doing pretty well for the most part. And he's probably doing well on TikTok as well. Granted, TikTok's monetization programs are kind of nonsense, but either way, 16.7K followers. He's definitely going to be monetized. And regardless of how you feel about EVs, he's probably doing really well in terms of his mileage and how much he's making that way, assuming he's using the standard mileage method. Either way, the people who kept criticizing him about getting a real job obviously don't have real lives. And they are not fully versed in how the tax code works. And I'm not even going to pretend like I'm fully versed, but I'm versed enough to where I know that I can actually keep more of the money that I'm making as a gig worker, and that I am using this as an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. And whatever I don't know about the tax code, I'm working with a tax professional to make sure that everything that I'm doing is by the book and IRS compliant, which is where GigTax is here to help. Filing your taxes on time, promptly, and accurately is an inevitable aspect of being in business for yourself. And GigTax is here to help. For every hour spent on navigating tax season alone, you miss out on potential opportunities, precious moments with loved ones, and expose yourself to financial risks. Recognized as the leading tax preparation service for gig workers, GigTax is dedicated to simplifying the process, saving you time, energy, and money. Founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with over 6,000 deliveries across 6 platforms since 2020 and growing, GigTax addresses the overlooked, overcharged, and underserved needs of gig workers in the financial realm. Driven Wyld subscribers can take advantage of an exclusive 77% discount on GigTax's tax prep, bringing the price from $538 to $124. Act now to get this price locked in before GigTax's calendar is booked, because GigTax helps those just like you to make the wisest and most effective decisions on your business and personal tax needs all year round. Secure your spot today with GigTax using the description link below to register and enter Wyld to maximize savings to get back to what you do best, making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.